I think there was over 100 vendors there.
And this was at the Capitol, right? Lansing.
This is down the road from Gretsch.
Oh. Hi, welcome to another episode of the Amigo CartCast. I'm Samantha here with my co-host Scott.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's good.
Good. So today we're going to have a casual conversation, and we want to just talk about Amigo has been very fortunate to attend many trade shows, which we've talked about in the past on our CartCast here. But we also want to talk about not only what the benefits that we hear at trade shows, some of the trends that we're hearing. So we get a lot of exposure to different industries, really specifically in manufacturing settings. So we wanted to kind of talk about what are the hot topics out there right now and what are some of the industry trends. So with that, I got a few. We've attended a couple shows lately. But Scott, is there anything, I guess, on your mind before we dive in?
Well, what's funny about trade shows or events like that is it's amazing. At first, nobody wants to talk to you, right? You got to pull them into the booth. But then once you get them in the booth, you almost can't get them out of the booth. So a lot of times they will talk and tell you different things, like what they need to do in their company or things that they're going to do, or the initiatives. Could be safety, could be efficiency. So there's all kinds of different things that you learn only from these kind of events.
Absolutely. So last week, I was able to attend. It was a safety and sustainability conference down in Florida.
Right.
And that one we've had a lot of interest in our material handling carts from a safety standpoint, not only because they're safe speeds, but the ergonomic design of them, they're great for employees. But some of the things that people were talking about are just how overall sustainability in the workforce and manufacturing, which I thought was very cool to hear.
When you mention sustainability, a buzzword at a lot of trade shows we attend is autonomy or autonomous vehicles, robots. As a matter of fact, when we went to ProMat this last year, there were just a boatload. There's a whole section of that. And I think the cool thing is, even when we talk to folks at those events, there was still a place, not that this is a product-driven podcast, website, video, but there was still a place for like our style of products. So human intervention with autonomous vehicles. So that's just one example of something that people had brought up to us or brought up to me at that trade show. So robots and people, and that's kind of what we do. We move people. So, we had a recent event on site. So, we go to a lot of trade shows, but we had our recent event on site.
Yes, we did, where we were able to welcome in different community businesses, specifically in the manufacturing field. So we had our second annual, we call it Beer and Brats. It's just a great opportunity to network, to be able to talk to like-minded business people, and kind of pick their brain on what are some of the trends and maybe troubles that they're running into in the industry, and how can we be, come together in this manufacturing space to provide solutions.
Right. In that event, we reached out to manufacturing associations. We reached out to existing customers. We reached out to vendors of Amigo. So we were trying to do at that point for that event was just get folks in just to see different ways of doing things.
Yeah, so thank you to anyone who attended our event. We were, had a lot of fun, a lot of great conversations. And actually, during that event, we also had a guest host for our CartCast.
We did?
Yes, where our marketing manager, Jeff, was able to sit down and chat with one of the individuals that came. All right, so we'll stay tuned to listen to Jeff's conversation a little bit later, but I do want to get back to your comment with when we were at ProMat and just the world of autonomy and all the different type of autonomous vehicles out there. So in a world where everything is moving towards that trend, we see large warehouses, large facilities, it makes sense in a lot of different scenarios to be fully autonomous or semi-autonomous, but it doesn't always make sense. It's not always the right fit, or maybe the budget isn't quite there. So I just, what are you seeing, I guess, as far as industry trends, as far as building in an autonomous site?
Well, I see everybody is so interested. I mean, like I said earlier, they actually had an actual exhibit hall with just autonomous vehicles. They've never had that before. And there's a bunch of players in there. So I think there's a real big buzzword. I'm a little older than most. And it kind of goes back to the days of Calvin Klein jeans and Jordache jeans. Just bear with me here.
Okay.
Everybody had to have the name brand jeans back then because that's what the cool people had, right? It's the same way with autonomous. It's like everybody's talking about it, but I'm not sure people are really ready to buy it. For example, just some of the things I've heard, and I'm not a professional, is that there's a software package that you pay for monthly, right? And then there are the actual products itself, which could be kind of costly. So even though it's a big buzzword, from what I can tell right now, I think it's still a ways off from what people told us. Now, the cool thing, Samantha, is these same people that told us about autonomy and autonomous vehicles, they still were interested in our products. Mm-hmm. So, there's an element there of, those are cool to do some things, but then how do we increase the efficiency using our products with people, actual humans, on other things?
Yeah. Well, and I know we've talked a lot about, for us, right-sizing your fleet. And absolutely, I think there is a place for autonomous type vehicles, whether it be an autonomous fork truck or an autonomous, they actually have robots that will move things.
They have floor scrubbers that are autonomous. I see them in I see them in stores, beeping, beep, beep, beep.
Just like that.
Just like that.
And you better get out of the way.
And you get out of the way.
They're very polite. They will stop for you if you get in their path. But I think you're right. There is always going to be a human element maybe behind that. So who's doing the maintenance on some of these robots?
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
We have one of our customers I was visiting their site not too long ago, and they have a very large automatic box cutter. So it cuts the package to the exact size that it needs to be. Incredible machinery. I mean, it's huge. Cool. It's precise. It saves on cardboard, and it's very precise, which is very cool. Their pain point was, if it goes down, it's very meticulous to have someone. You have to have someone very skilled and educated to go in and to be able to fix it and set it. So you're always going to have that human element to maybe fix the robots, right? When they go down. I think like AI is great, right? It makes sense in a whole lot of spaces. I myself is guilty for using ChatGPT when needed if you got to get the juices flowing, but it's not always. You still have to have that human element to be able to sort through what is the right information. What is the information that's beneficial for you? And maybe what is the stuff that you can kind of throw out the window? So there's a place for everything.
And that's a good point. We have a customer down in Metro Detroit area that uses our product specifically just for their machine repair to go up to a machine, fix it. So that's a quicker way to do that, to get up to the machine, fix it, and then move to the next machine. And my point with that is, even in the autonomous kind of world, if things need to be fixed, people need to get there, right? Quicker. Just like you say, this box cutter, I mean, they probably can't afford to have it down, right? I mean, if it's down for a minute, you hear these stories that if it's down for a minute, it's costing
$20 million a minute.
Second.
A second.
Yeah, no kidding. So once again, I think the cool thing about whether it's our event or whether it's a trade show you go to, everybody tells you their pain points and what they're trying to do. And then there's times that we go, hey, great, we can help you. And there's times that we can't help you, and on to the next one. So we can't help everybody all the time, but we sure try to.
Absolutely. So another thing, I think when we were doing tours at our recent Beer and Brats event, one thing that it's always exciting to see people's eyes kind of light up when we talk about sustainability and how we're able to impact that at Amigo. Is our Amigo Recycling Center. And I think that's probably one that we could just spend a whole day talking about.
I hope we do.
But it is cool to hear the story. So maybe if companies or anyone who's listening isn't aware of what that is, maybe you can just share a quick recap and what's exciting about it.
Well, and I can't tell you exactly how long ago it was. I'm sure somebody can. If it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I think it was about
10 years ago.
Okay, 10 years ago.
We'll go with that.
But the thought was, and it came from, and he was on his podcast, Al, it was his vision, it was his dream, that we're going to bring all of these components in mostly the retail grocery store world into our facility. We're going to take them apart and then possibly scrap them. And when I say scrap, I mean recycle. So
properly, right?
Properly, yes.
Right.
To make the world a better place, right? I mean, the last thing we want to do is find batteries in the back of some farmer's field, right? They need to be in the properly disposed. So getting back to this concept was bring all this stuff in and find out what's good, what's bad, what can be reused, what can be recertified, and then we can dump all that right in a positive professional way as far as recycling. But then we can also offer those products and those parts to others at a discounted rate, saves people money, gets things fixed again. So that's kind of in a nutshell the quick version. It's bigger than that now. I mean, it's like dog food, right? When you hit water, it explodes, right? It expands. It's really much bigger than that today, but that's how it started. And I think probably if you ask people 10 years ago, what do you think about this? I think they probably thought, I don't know. But now that we have it, I'm going to tell you, it's a big part of our business.
It is.
It's huge.
And people are excited. A lot of people in their own companies have some sort of green initiative that they're going after. And so it's very exciting to be a part of that here too. We have a lot of local companies that, rely on our recycling center for that. Even if it's just battery recycling,
right.
Reach out to us and we're happy to help and do whatever we can to ensure we're creating that green footprint.
Most definitely. And, I think these bigger companies in the world, these big Fortune 500s, like a Walmart or a Target or a Menards, they have departments, I believe, that this is serious. I mean, it should be serious for everybody, but it's a real deal. So I think folks like them are really going to all of a sudden go, what can we do or how can we benefit from something like that?
Absolutely. And you just recently did a safety show.
We did
in Michigan.
First one we ever did. It was kind of the maiden voyage, right? We really didn't know what to expect. I think there was over 100 vendors there.
And this was at the Capitol, right? Lansing.
This is down the road from Gretsch.
Oh.
Okay. It was our maiden voyage of the Michigan. We've never done it. So I've been in industrial material handling since 17. We've never done a show in our own backyard. So we really wanted to get it in and do it. And I will tell you, it was really interesting the amount of people that walked through that initially looked at our product and they go, and then all of a sudden they came back around. And I would tell you one thing, and this is nothing against this industry, but you'd be amazed how many people on these warehouses are trying to get smaller, maybe less products let me go back there. You'd be amazed of how many people are trying to put in products that are maybe smaller, less expensive and safer in that environment. And that's where kind of we had a bunch of interest. Once again, it's not all product driven, but we had a lot of interest when people saw our products and go, oh, you can move this and you can move that.
Right.
So I don't know if I have specifics. We had an event coordinator. So this is just what they brought up. It does things at Ford Field, does things in Lansing, all over the state. And believe it or not, they want, you have those backdrops that, behind booths.
Sure, the curtains.
And you have tables and you have chairs. They're using
a lot of work to put all that up.
Exactly. And they want to do it more efficiently. And they actually purchased a product at the show.
Oh,
not that this is sales related.
I am taking this
but
right
he took
now.
it from us right off the floor.
Why not?
Because he saw what he did, and this is what happens at these shows and events. He sees it, he thinks about it, and then he asks questions about it. So that's just really cool.
Absolutely. Did you see at that show, because you're so close to maybe Michigan State or other universities, was there a lot of college students or it was mostly professionals?
There were only a few interns. We had somebody from Oakland University there that wants somebody to come and speak on behalf at the university, right, in a class. So there was that, but there really wasn't a lot of folks that walked through that were kind of in the younger sector, right? That were, like, for example, you go to like a Fab Tech or a Pack Expo and you have a lot of engineering students walk through. There's a pack of them that come through and they have a bunch of questions. Who knows what they're looking at, but they're looking at something, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe they just got out of school for a day.
Yeah.
They're digging it. But at this specific show, there wasn't a lot of that.
I just wonder, because that's one thing we hear a lot of is just, how are we backfilling the workforce? And maybe the attention that HR is giving to different manufacturing industries to try to retain and attract talent to that field. I know we've talked about before that manufacturing sometimes gets a little bit of a bad rep of like it's a dirty place to work or it's, you're not treated very well. And it's the exact opposite. And the majority of the sites that we've been in, you can tell there's a great culture and people enjoy what they do, but you have to continue to talk about it and continue to shed light on it for people to really be bought into it. So I think that's another great topic that we kind of hear when we're going to these places is how are they attracting talent and then also retaining talent to their industry. So I didn't know if you saw any of that.
No, but if you think about it, and like I say, it was our first show we did, it was a safety show. So you had a bunch of safety folks there, and that was what was really interesting for us. Like we've done maintenance shows, packing shows and things. This was an actual safety show, and you've gone to safety shows as well. And those folks were pretty interested in how can we safeten it up? And I will tell you this, it's kind of funny. There's a lot of industries, a lot of things. People always talk it, but they don't walk it, right? I'm going to tell you, safety folks, I kind of put them on the same level as an engineer.
Oh, sure.
Because they're very...
Yes, no.
Oh,
Black,
my gosh.
white.
There is no gray
No.
at all. And they bring it, and they talk about it, and they're really passionate about it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting.
No, absolutely. I think that's good. I mean, honestly, that's a lot of the trends that we've seen. Of course, autonomous vehicles, definitely that safety and sustainability in the workforce. And then retention, I would say, is a huge one. Anything else that you're seeing or hearing?
Well, retention's huge. It's like retention, promoting to a retention is almost, unless you have a safety person that's really into that, is almost like the first time when you have a young family and somebody comes to you and says, you need to buy life insurance, right? I mean, I need to buy diapers. I need to buy baby food, right? But they tell you need to buy life insurance. It's not the easiest thing to talk about because people think they can avoid it. Same thing with this here is people a lot of times, whether it's safety and things like that, or retaining an employee, that's harder for people to see because you might have somebody that doesn't get around as good, that might be a little late in their profession or their career that still wants to work. And that's where our products can come in. But that's a little tougher. It's a little tougher picture to paint.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the conversation and talking about industry trends and kind of how we get some of our information, of course, through our network, and trade shows have always been beneficial for us. I think now it would be great to chime in, take a look at our guest host,
right.
Jeff, who was able to, at our most recent event, talk to some business leaders and take a listen.
All right, to start off, give me a little introduction of who you are, where you work, and your role in the company.
I'm Brent Bedore. I'm with Next Year Automotive. I've been there just under 28 years, multiple roles, but currently the last 5 years I've been in quality, and I am the Quality Management Systems Director and the lead auditor for IATF.
Okay, so next year, large facility. Are you traveling around the facility testing these machines?
No, I'll be testing the systems that control this.
Okay.
So I will be going in and look at the process itself and verify that they've got all the tools that they're supposed to have based on what the requirements are.
Okay, so we know technology really helps with some of these processes, but within your process, what are those hands-on, human touch element type things?
So a lot of our areas believe in the Toyota production system that they want their machines to make the parts and then the people to be involved in the inspection portion, because there's nothing that hands and eyes they're way better than machines in some cases. So you still want the human interaction.
Right.
And a lot of our opportunities to gauge are manual. So the operator would be responsible for checking a part to make sure it fits the gauges, record the data if necessary, and if nothing else, put their name on a piece of paper that says that they verified that all their pieces that they've made are conforming.
Right. So you did a little tour of our facility today here at Amigo.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you learned.
Well, first of all, Gabrielle did a great job. She always does. We got back into the machining area, which is always my
first love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Metal forming and heat treat by far my best, but that laser cutter back there is amazing. So the technology that you guys bring to a product that really doesn't appear to have that type of detail, I think is why Amigo has been able to be successful, because you build in quality where a lot of people inspect in quality.
Absolutely.
And that's not the way to make manufacturing successful. So and from my perspective, other than build per order, which is amazing in manufacturing today, that in my mind would be the best thing that you can do, is to build in quality from the start of the process.
Absolutely. Part of Amigo, we don't just make, right? We from start to finish, we're there in the whole process from design, testing. We have our, what I like to say, the break stuff department.
Sure.
We put the test it to the limits, because durability and just longevity of our products are very, important to us, because we stand by everything that we do made
Seems
here
like
in
you
Bridgeport.
believe that the longer something lasts, the better chance these people are going to come back.
Absolutely. If somebody was asking for a recommendation on the Amigo industrial cart, what would you say to them?
Oh, absolutely. When we originally went away from the old steel tuggers that we had, the opportunity to work with Amigo, we actually had some in the maintenance department for a while, and that was pretty much where we got our start, was getting electricians and machine repairmen in a hurry to wherever that machine was down.
Yep.
And we started to realize that these things had a capacity to pull and do a little more work than we were giving it.
That's right.
So that, absolutely.
Put it through its paces.
Absolutely. We put it through its paces. I would imagine that in the shopping world, it's very tough on them, but I would say the industrial business is definitely not a slouch to.
That's right.
To put into
Durability. You got to be able to withstand the tough jobs.
Tell you that we don't put up with something that isn't going to last, because if we got to buy it again in a year, chances are probably not.
It's a bad investment, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Well, Amigos definitely are built to last, and
Yes, sir.
and I appreciate the opportunity to have a little conversation today.
No problem, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thanks again.
Good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I was at the event and I watched them do the podcast and do the interview, and that was pretty gosh darn interesting.
That was cool to
Yeah.
hear. Absolutely. And actually, they were one of our first customers of our Amigo material handling cart.
Yeah.
You were there.
And actually, when we started this gentleman was very bashful, didn't want to talk at all. But you know what? He did a very nice job.
It's like everyone at the trade show, you said they don't want to talk at first.
It's amazing.
And then you can't get away.
Get on down the road.
Ew.
Next.
No, we love the conversations and we'll take them anytime that they come.
Yeah, it is good. It is good.
That was awesome. Thank you all for joining. And I think until next time, keep it rolling.